What's up, everybody? Welcome to In the Pit with Dimitri and DIck. I'm your host, Dimitri Sparks, and with me is my co-host, Dick Dave Felice. What's going on, Big Dick?
Hey, how we doing? How we doing today?
Doing good. Today on the podcast, we're going to do a album review. This is by a band called Terminal Nation. Terminal Nation has a new album out this year, and it is their first LP. And we're going to be reviewing it. It's called Holocene Extinction. And this album is produced by a label called 20 Buck Spin from our hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
How awesome is that? The Burgh, the city of bridges. I never knew it was called the city of bridges until like today. I was like looking up something for Pittsburgh, and it said city of bridges.
It's funny. I never knew it was called that till well after I already moved out of Pittsburgh. I always knew Steel City. I always knew the other ones, but I never really ever remembered it being known as the city of bridges during the time I lived there, which is interesting. I guess there are a lot of bridges, but I guess it was one of those things I never really thought about when I was there.
I remember like 3 bridges maybe, but I always remember it as the Steel City. Yeah. And then, like I said, I was looking up something about Pittsburgh online, and I saw that, and it has like the most bridges out of any city. City in the world. That's a lot of bridges.
Well, and I think when you're saying you remember the big, like you remember like 3, you're talking about like the big ones, like the Birmingham Bridge, the Fort Pitt Bridge, the ones that run by the stadiums, all those bigger ones.
Yeah.
But then you do have all those small ones that just run right over the rivers. Like you got the Hot Metal Bridge, South 10th Street Bridge, all those little tiny ones. And there's a bunch of them that just cross over the different rivers throughout the city. So I guess when people do say that, they are correct. And it probably, I don't know. I guess it does have the most bridges, especially in North America out of any city. But I never really thought of it when I lived there. You know what I mean? Like,
what is the bridge right after the Liberty Tunnels?
I think it's the Liberty Bridge.
Oh, that's the Liberty Bridge?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
That makes sense. That's where it would be.
Well, hold on, because I don't want to come off sounding like a faux Yinzer here, a pseudo Yinzer. So let me look at the different.
A real Pittsburghian would be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the Yins Jagos down there don't know what you're talking about. You moved out and you don't understand what bridges those are down there by the tubes. Because, you called it the Liberty Tunnels and people call it the tubes, I guess. So, let me look because I want to make sure.
So I remember, like, whenever I would go to Pittsburgh, I would go that way. And it was like you were in this small town. And then you go in the Liberty Tunnels. And that was cool because you were in this little tube. And then it spit you right out, and you're like right in the city. You go from like this weird little small town into the city. Like, as soon as you got out there, that bridge greeted you.
Yeah, and that's the Liberty Bridge. There's also there you got the Fort Pitt Bridge. The big ones are that Fort Duquesne Bridge, but then I'm looking at some of the other ones now. You got all these small ones like we talked about South 10th Street, Smithfield Street Bridge, Panhandle Bridge, a bunch of different ones there. So it is interesting to think the city of bridges. I get what you probably read on that thing, what it has more bridges than Venice or something, right? Yeah.
In the world, I think I saw it say.
Yeah.
And I remember coming out of the Liberty Tunnel tubes, and I'd come out there, and I was just always really bad at driving anyways, but I'd just get lost because I would be like, well, there's this bridge over here. It's like, I think we crossed it when we first came in, and then I realized it was probably one of the, the hundreds of bridges that are there. And I would always just get super lost when I go down to Pittsburgh.
You know what? You know what's also interesting though? I think the steepest street, it's either in North America or the Western Hemisphere, is in Pittsburgh.
Really?
Yeah, let me look it up real quick because again, I don't want to come off sounding like I don't know my stuff here, but yeah,
you have to have facts here. It's important. Steepest street.
Let's see, steepest street Pittsburgh. I want to make sure I got it. I know it's in. Yeah, it's Canton Avenue is or
Is
steepest.
that where the lift is? No, that's Mount Washington.
Actually,
There's some steep streets on Mount Washington too, right?
yeah. See, that's the one I thought it was. Although this is saying in Beachview, but I know this might be the one that was. There's. Oh yeah, this is it. This is the one that was in the commercial for. I think there's a couple different ones, but it had a snowboarder, a mountain biker, and then a guy driving like an Audi for some. I don't know. I guess that was part of it.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So,
Steep
but
streets and people driving Audis.
yeah, I was gonna say, since there's so many Audi drivers, I guess in the area, not really, but
I've never paid attention. My main thing for going down to Pittsburgh was either going to a concert or going to a club to get drunk. Those were the two things, and sometimes I do both.
what was your what was your favorite ones there?
Man, a lot of the my favorite ones are not there anymore. Like I remember the first concert I went to, like with my friends. I went to Blue Oyster Cult with my dad when I was a kid, but like the
Mm.
first one I went to with my friends was in Pittsburgh, and it was at the Metropole.
Oh
And I'm
yeah,
pretty sure they closed that down a while ago, right?
yeah, Metropole that's closed down. Some of the other ones that used to be there, and again, it's been a while since I've been up there and gone to shows. I remember going to Club Laga. Did
Club
you go
Lager.
there? That was the one that was right in Oakland by Pitt's campus. Was Club Laga. Uh, there was also Mr. Roboto, Mr. Smalls was another one.
Is Mr.
The
Small still there?
I think it might be actually because I thought I saw something about it recently about there being shows there still. Uh, and there was also Millvale Industrial Theater. That was another one we used to go to, which would have a lot of the smaller type venue shows. It was big in like the hardcore scene. I remember there'd be a lot of bands that would come play there. I'm trying to think though, because one of the craziest shows I ever saw in Pittsburgh, and you're gonna laugh about this because it had nothing to do with wanting to go see the headliner, but it was. Do you remember when Vanilla Ice put out his like I don't know if they were calling that new metal or if they were calling that rap rock or if it was supposed to be like a hardcore album or whatever. He had a record out in like around 1999. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and he had a hardcore version of Ice Ice Baby on it. Is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It was
So
Ice Ice Baby.
yeah, and
Terrible.
it was terrible. But the thing that was funny about that was like the people that were supporting acts for that. I remember me and my buddies all went because the New York hardcore band, do you know Scarhead? Are you
No,
familiar with? Okay. Well,
no.
Scarhead was like one of the more notorious New York hardcore bands. They were part of like that whole DMS crew and all that stuff. And I remember they were one of the opening acts. So we were all like, well, I don't give a shit about seeing Vanilla Ice get up there and make a fool of himself, but let's go see Scarhead because we were big fans of them. So we went to that show. But it was funny though because it was one of those things where well after that part was done is like all right we'll just stay a little bit to watch him look like an idiot up here and then we'll probably leave but like it was funny because that show brought out a lot of different people in the area but I think a lot of that was because of who the supporting acts were. I don't remember who else was on the bill. I just remember that being funny because it was uncharacteristic that they were on that show. But I guess whatever, it gets you a lot of exposure probably playing on that. I forget what venue that one was at though, but it was funny though nonetheless.
I can picture the audience being skinheads and young teenage girls.
It was weird though because I think that was around the time where like new metal was big. So
Yeah.
there were people that were into that who I guess must have been into the Vanilla Ice record because I guess it was being packaged as like a new metal album. I don't know. Like it probably was being pushed to be something similar to like Limp Bizkit or Korn or one of those bands, but I don't know. I wasn't too familiar with it, other than that it was bad. It wasn't very good, you know. But
Yeah, he took some artistic liberties with that. Now,
yeah,
I could see him being like in the same concert, like opening up for Limp Bizkit. That sounds like too like if he was doing a metal or he's doing like a new metal, seems like Limp Bizkit and Vanilla Ice would not be a bad match. But other than that, I can't see him touring with anybody else.
yeah, and that was what was funny about it. Like, and you could tell there was some people there too when they saw like Scarhead get up there and play. They're like, "What the hell is this?" Like, 'cause it was it was completely out of like their comfort zone, for what they probably were used to listening to. But it was.
Heard him on getting thrown around.
What? Yeah, because those guys had songs that were like all about like beating people's asses and stuff, and it was very like
Quite a lot of robbing people going on.
well, it was like very street type hardcore, like the DMS stuff and all that from that era was tied in to that kind of side of the hardcore and punk scene, but it's interesting. If you're not familiar with them, check their stuff out though, because they're pretty good. They've always been one of my favorite bands.
Are
Uh,
they still around?
they they kind of are, not really though. The thing that's interesting about that is the lead singer of that band. He actually is now into hip hop, which I'm not really. I don't follow his stuff. I know he has albums out. During the years of him being in both those bands, Scarhead and Crown of Thorns, he was known as Lord Ezek. Now, though, he goes by the name of Danny Diablo. But I don't know really. I'm not too familiar with his stuff as far as the rap records. I think I've heard a few songs here and there. I mean, it's kind of typical East Coast hip hop type stuff, but again, I don't follow it. I don't know. I'm not saying it's good or bad one way because I don't really listen to it regularly, but I know that he has records out there now.
Danny Diablo could easily be a DJ name at a really dark strip club.
Poss-
Diablo.
Possibly.
Yeah, so the Metropole. The first band I saw was Fear Factory. And that was the
Yeah.
first mosh pit that I ever stepped into. And I thought it's like, oh man, I could get in here. It's like these guys aren't that big. And then I stepped in there and I just got thrown around that circle that they made. And I remember there was one guy that was there, and he was this big dude, like super sweaty, like drenched in sweat. And he was wearing one of those shirts, like on that show Seinfeld, whenever they talked about the puffy shirt.
Yeah.
It had weird like ruffles like in the front. He was wearing that shirt, but it was wet, like soaking wet, like he just jumped in a pool. And he was in the mosh pit, and he kept running into me, and I'd get like his sweat all over me, and it smelled so bad. And I remember one time he was coming out from like the left corner or something, and I tried to move around so I didn't hit him, and then he went flying, and his elbow hit me in the mouth with the sleeve that was covered in sweat. It was the nastiest thing. I got the sweat in my nose and my mouth. Oh, it was bad. That was my first mosh pit experience. Was this dirty, sweaty guy? It stunk.
I'm just wondering, like, why would you wear a shirt like that
I don't
to
know.
that's like,
I don't know. I had a Fear Factory shirt on in jeans. That's what I had
yeah,
on.
most of the time my typical concert going attire would either be like, I don't know, a t-shirt, and most of them are probably that I own are black, and then probably either a pair of jeans or some shorts, like cargo shorts maybe. I've never really understood why. I don't know, maybe he was more into like that was it like trying to look like gothish or industrial, you think? Or what would
May
make
have been going to the you may have been going to the opera and just got lost and got stuck in a mosh pit and was trying to get out. It was more goth, definitely, but I can't remember what else he was wearing. He probably had like rings and
probably leather pants or those.
stuff. Yeah, it was probably like a leather pant with like one of those like big stainless steel belts.
What year was this? How old were you when you were at that
This
show?
was 95, maybe 96, around that, like mid 90s, I would say.
Was it like when the first Fear Factory record came out? Like the first major record they put out?
It was during demanufacture.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. It was during obsolete.
Okay.
It was during obsolete. So what was it, 95, 96?
Probably. Yeah.
Around there. Yeah. It was a great concert. Just that mosh pit experience was a little sweaty.
I remember Metropole, and I remember they used to do stuff there where it would be like local unsigned bands could play. Yeah, they had like shows there that would be called like, I don't know, the event would be called like Exposure, and there would be like, they just have a bunch of local unsigned bands on the bill, because I remember friends of mine in high school played that show. uh but it wasn't like there was any real format to what type of bands necessarily would be on it. So case in point, they were like a ska band, but then the band following them was, I don't know. I don't know if I would have classified it as death metal, but it was definitely on the heavier side of like thrash, if it wasn't death metal. But but it was weird because those things usually don't play the same bill as each other.
No.
Yeah, so you had a
I
pretty.
guess that was all they could find.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and then there was like, some of those awful pop punk bands and stuff where like, so it was all over the place as far as what they were playing. But yeah, I remember that was at Metropole. But you know what was funny too? Did you, and now this is going off the path a little more into like just going out drinking in Pittsburgh. Did you ever go to that thing that used to be across from like where Metropole was in the strip, and it was called the Boardwalk? It's not there anymore. They shut it down. But did you ever go to that?
I think I've been there. Is that the club where there was like a bunch of different levels?
Yeah,
Like you
and there
could
was
go upstairs, and then there was different music, and then you could go upstairs, and then there was different people upstairs.
a bunch of different bars like within it, like, and there was like an outside and inside. Is that the same one you're thinking of?
I think so.
Yeah.
Uh, what was there though? I'm trying to
It
think
was
what was
like
there.
I think Whiskey Dicks was there or
Whiskey
whatever.
Dick.
Or
Yeah, I think there was like 3 or 4 bars. I kind of remember it. I can't remember the names of the bars that were there though.
I know that was never like a regular place I would go to, but I remember being in there one night, and well, I won't say his name, but this guy. I know you know him. Uh, and we paid him a bunch of money to dive into the fountain right at closing time because they had like this middle like pool fountain thing. And I
Right.
remember he stood up on it and dove into it like right whenever they told everyone they needed to get out. So that was funny because then they're telling him, get your ass out of here. And he's stumbling out of the thing, drenched, soaking wet, you know. I don't know.
Did he get into a cab or a car afterwards?
I think we had someone drove. I don't
Oh,
remember,
really?
which it wasn't my car, so I didn't care. But he probably soaked all
That's
those.
always fun. Hey, you gotta drive him home. Like shit.
Yeah,
So wet.
I
I
know.
remember. I remember a lot of bars down there. I remember like a Carson Street was always fun. I
Yeah,
remember like Mario's. Was Mario's down there?
yeah. Mario's was on East Carson. That's still there, I think.
Yeah.
There
Seen a
was
bunch of fights there.
yeah.
Always seemed to be a fight outside Mario's.
There used to also be down there. There was this one bar, and I don't know if it's still there, but it was past Mario's. If you kept going down East Carson, going towards Station Square, and it was called the Smiling Moose. And I remember it was right on Carson though. But when you would go in there, they didn't usually seem to have like live music. But what they were always playing, like whoever was playing the music there, I don't know if it was on a jukebox or if it was like a DJ or what. But I remember being in there, and it would always either be like death metal, grindcore, like hardcore, like stuff that no other bar on East Carson would be playing. Because I remember being in there, and we'd always be like, "This is pretty cool." Like, I mean, I don't. I didn't know a lot about the place, but yeah, it always seemed like they were playing that kind of stuff in there.
Were they playing it on a jukebox? Like, what were they playing it? Was there a DJ?
It was through the speakers. I don't know if it was coming out of the jukebox or the DJ, but it was, one of the few bars on that side of Pittsburgh that was playing that kind of music. East Carson Street wasn't exactly known for extreme metal or anything.
No.
But it was interesting always because I know anytime we'd go in there and it would just be random, we'd just be walking past and go, oh, let's go in there and grab a drink. And that would be on there every time, it seemed like. So it was funny though. But
Yeah, there's a lot of good places there. I remember this one place. I can't remember the name of this one either, but we used to go down on Friday nights, and they had 80s night, and we'd always get there early, like half an hour before everybody else would start coming in. And I remember at one point I was there with a couple buddies, and my buddy found like $30 on the ground. He's like, "Oh fuck yeah, I found money, buying shots," and I'm like, "Hell yeah, getting shots." Yeah, so we all drank a bunch of shots, and then like 10, 15 minutes later, I'm at the bar ordering a drink, and I go to pay, and I go reach in my pocket, and I'm like, oh shit, because I just had money in my pocket, like not in a wallet, just inside my pocket. And I'm like looking for it, and I'm like, oh shit, I dropped my money. And then I connected the dots, like, oh, that's right, the money that he found was mine.
Where was that though? Was that
I don't remember.
it wasn't in Station Square, was it? All the way down where they
It wasn't in Station Square. I can't remember where it was exactly.
was it Jack's?
No, it wasn't Jack's, but Jack's was a fun bar.
Yeah, that was another one. But that place though, I remember no matter when you would go in there, it would seem like there was never any room to walk in that place.
No. They'd squeeze a band in there too, like by the bathroom. They have the band playing.
Yeah. They
fucked up in that place. Like I've been there. Like it seems like I always, when I go to Pittsburgh, I always stop at Jack's for a little while. I don't know. I guess it's just a place where everybody's at. The neon lights. And stuff,
yeah.
Music playing. So it's like, oh, let's stop in at Jack's. And then like 2 hours later, you come out and you're just shit faced.
I remember the last time I think probably I went out in Pittsburgh with you was when I first moved to Florida. I came up. I thought for some reason I'm thinking I don't know. I don't remember, but I thought I went from the airport straight to meeting you somewhere, but I don't think that's what happened. I think I drove my car to your brother's when your brother lived in the apartments.
Yeah.
That used to be the old Westgate Village.
Yeah, they burned that.
Yeah. And I know like I remember two things that were funny about that. Well, maybe three things. One was that we called a cab because we didn't want to drive. And since we made him wait, he got out of the cab and ate a sandwich and said, I'm going to make you wait because I had to wait for you to step out of the apartment.
He was eating lunch.
Yeah, like he was eating like a sandwich standing at the back, like with it on the trunk of the cab, and he had a cooler with whatever his drink was in the cooler.
He had a Mountain Dew, I remember.
Yeah, and I remember then too. Like I was like, we just kind of looked at each other. It's like it really doesn't bother us much. It's not like we're on a tight schedule here or anything. I mean, and I remember then on the way going back, we couldn't get a cab that would drive us back out to where those apartments were. And I remember some random lady just picked us up and drove us there, and we paid her cash to drive us there.
Really?
Yeah, you don't remember that? She was driving like a Lexus SUV too. It was weird, but I guess it was kind of like, because that was before Uber was really a thing. It was just when people used to do that, like just pick people and say, "Well, if you give me $20, I'll drive you there."
Hitchhike. We were hitchhiking. Right?
I guess thumbing.
I do remember sitting in the cab for 10 minutes before we were like, "What the fuck is this guy doing?" It's like, "Hey, we're ready to go." He's just eating a sandwich.
And the funny part about that was his words were, "Since you made me wait, I'm gonna make you wait." I was like, you could have ate the sandwich while you were waiting. I don't know.
But I know that was the only time a cab driver has ever threatened me with food.
Yeah.
All right, you want to do this demo thing now?
Yeah. Uh,
All right.
all right.
Everybody, this is a new segment of the show. This is called Demo Lition. And what we do is somebody who sends us a demo, it'll be the very first time we listen to it during the podcast. So we'll listen to the demo, or at least some of it, and we'll give feedback, give just like a quick review on what we think of it. So just be forewarned, if it's bad, we may make fun of it. So it's just a disclaimer if you're sending a demo. So this, I can't even pronounce the name of this band. So tell me a little bit about it, Dick.
All right. I'll do my best here. You know, my Greek is a little fuzzy. But the okay, where do I start here? Okay, so this band, and this was a demo that was sent to us kind of unsolicited, but I guess we do always ask people, if you want to be featured on the show, let us know. Uh anyway, and I'm trying here, but like I said, I'm not fluent in Greek. The name of the band is Greek, but I don't think this is from Greece. From what I can tell, it's actually from Spain. The name of the band is Éntonos, Ádeio, and the name of the demo is Tragos Ádeio. I don't know. I probably butchered that, but so anyway, I
Maybe
don't.
Russian.
No, it's not Russian because I would have a lot easier time with that than this. This what that meant is I looked it up because I just wanted to know because I knew it wasn't Spanish when I was looking at it because I would have probably been easier off if it was Spanish here. It it's the name of the band means strongly empty is what that means. Anyway, it's kind of like a doom metal type thing. Seems like it has some influences of black metal and stuff. What I could tell is it, and again, I didn't do a whole lot of research. It seems to be your typical doomish or black metal stuff with probably anti-religious imagery and whatnot in here. But you know, I don't know. Let's give it some spins and see what it's like. We really
Okay, if we butchered the name, we apologize. We try our best. Well, I'll put the YouTube link up in, I guess, on the YouTube channel. I don't think I could do it on Spotify. I'll try to do it on Spotify too, but we'll give it a listen here and see what it sounds like. Now, this whole demo here is 9 minutes. We'll probably just play like a 30, 40 seconds of the clip. Does he sing in this? I wonder. Let me forward it some and see if it's
you,
not.
you well, how many seconds were we in right there?
That was 51 seconds.
Jump maybe to about like 3-4 minutes because you're at the halfway point. Maybe it is only maybe it's the one. I don't really know. Maybe it is. Since he says something about doom metal, you don't know that might be a 9-minute one song demo. Jump to like 4 minutes and see what it sounds like.
All right, I'm gonna jump to 4:32. The singing sounds like Skeletor a little bit.
Do this, okay? I know.
Throughout the first minute into the tempo doesn't change at all. Hold on, let me go into. It has to be different at 6 minutes and 35 seconds. Let me try it.
Okay. How many minutes are you at right here?
So it has some keyboards in there, and it's got it sounds like I don't know. It's like the singing is really rough.
What?
And
How many minutes were you at right there?
that was 7 minutes and 40 seconds.
and, and there's how many left in it?
Oh, there's I don't know, probably 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. It's weird. It's almost like a Cradle of Filth type sound, like in the background. It seems like.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I was never a fan. I don't know that whole Cradle of Filth type stuff. I guess here's gonna be my thing. And we're not in the business of just shitting on people's music here. But if you're gonna do program the drums, at least put a little bit of time into it and find ones that sound something better than like a children's keyboard.
Yeah, especially at the beginning there. Let me play the beginning part. Hold on. Listen to this beginning part with the drums. I remember my dad had this keyboard when I was a kid, and there was like this button you hit where it just automatically had some music in it. And it sounded like that. It sounded like this.
You're talking about the demo key on the keyboard.
Yeah, the demo key.
It would be like when you go to Radio Shack, and I don't think there's any of those around anymore. There used to be one probably on the floor at Century 3 Mall, like down on the bottom floor. You go there and you press the demo key and it'd do that like bah, chaka, bah, bah, like that.
You hit all of them, right? And it just drive people crazy. It
Yeah.
also sounded. Do you remember hit sticks? It was like these drumsticks that had like these look like telephone cords wrapped to them.
Yeah.
They went to a box that you put on your side, like on your belt loop, and then you just like hit them in the air and it'd make drum sounds. And that's what it sounded like at the beginning.
It's that, and then I guess, and again, I'm not into this ambient type stuff, but this sounds to me like it's trying to be very atmospheric, very like you said, kind of something along the lines of a Cradle of Filth in one of those bands, which I don't know. We reviewed a black metal band last week and I liked it, so it's nothing against that genre, but this, I don't know. It needs work. I'll try to be constructive. It needs work.
It needs a little improvement.
The vocals were bad though, and I know we didn't even really listen to much of them. There might have been worse on it, and we just don't know because, like I said, we're pretty much cold calling these, just playing.
Yeah, the vocals to me just sounded like way too loud, and I don't know.
They just didn't.
It wasn't my cup of tea.
They just weren't even along with the music. It just sounded like almost like Halloween store effects,
Yeah, like if you're going to a haunted house, like, we'll get
you. Whatever. I mean, people start somewhere with it, so you just got to figure out what's gonna work and make it better. but it's
Yeah, keep working on it.
it's
I don't think Crank Records will accept it at this point.
yeah, it's got to get better though. If you want to do something, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm just you know, it's called demolition for a reason. It means you might get crushed on this segment.
You might get demolished.
So, uh, well, while we're done with that and moving on, why don't we talk about some music that is good? And we got our review for this week. You wanna lead into that, or you want me to do the lead in about this band a little?
Oh, I'll lead in. I'll
Okay.
lead in. This band is called Terminal Nation, and they are from Little Rock, Arkansas. And their latest LP is called Holocene Extinction. And they're off of 20 Bucks Spin, which we said earlier was from Pittsburgh, PA. And 20 Bucks Spin, let's be honest, that sounds like something you might go hunting with. You know, you're up in the tree stand, and you're like, yeah, I was sitting there, and I pulled out my 20 Bucks Spin, and then along comes the 12 point.
Yeah, it is an interesting name for the label, and of course, I didn't do a lot of research as to why it's called that. But what I will say though is they have a lot of really, really, really good bands signed to this label.
Yeah,
That they're putting their music out. This band is a really good one, but I'll go ahead and name some names of some other ones that they're putting out. Alter
do it.
is another one. They're a band from Oakland, which is a metal band. I could go digging in there more, but I don't want to go too far off base. But what I will say is check out 20 Bucks Spin because they have a lot of very, very good bands signed to them. They're doing a lot for heavy music in general, and they have a good mixture of different bands because, with this band today, this is a band that kind of, it's funny because this record, some people may say it's a negative, but it kind of goes and steps around in what genre it even would fall into at times. And the thing is, though, I like it because it kind of keeps you on your toes a little. You don't get to what sounds like a formulaic record,
Right.
because there's slow doom metal influence parts. There's fast blast beat stuff that sounds like it would fit on a grindcore or power violence record. But then you also have in there, stuff that similar to like maybe your Swedish death metal with the buzzsaw or chainsaw type guitar tones. You have just flat out hardcore punk sounding elements in this record too. It's a little all over the place. The vocals, they're not always the same on every single track, but at the same time I liked it because I thought it was like, I didn't get bored at any point. At every point I was like, wait, what's this track gonna end up sounding like here? And the slow parts, what I'll put this way, they're absolutely crushing as far as how heavy they sound on it.
Well, let's listen to a track. Let's listen to the very first one because I think it's a very powerful first song to have on the album, and it's called Cognitive Dissonance.
So what do you think of this record?
Overall, it's pretty good. It's a really good hardcore album. Hardcore metal, like you said, there's some grindcore elements to it. A little bit political. You can tell there's some songs on here that you got like Death for Profit, Caskets of the Poor. Some different songs on here have like a political aspect to them. I think Holocene Extinction too had some lyrics in it where it's just like, how can we make this world a better place? You cannot save the world. A lot about how the world's going to shit and trying to save it and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty interesting album, and you couldn't really hear the different vocals in that song, but there's plenty of other songs on here where you can hear that. And I think that's a pretty good aspect, like you said, of the album. is that the vocals kind of change up a little bit. It's not the same throughout the whole thing. I really like the first song quite a bit. I like Arsenic Earth, which is the second song. It has some really good guitar riffs in it. Holocene Extinction, like the very first three songs are very good on the album. Both musically and lyrically.
Yeah.
Exposure to Utopia is pretty good too. It's actually an instrumental.
Yeah.
Which it's weird. Whenever there's an instrumental on an album, I'm always listening to it and I'm like, all right, when the fuck are they gonna sing? And then oh, it's an instrumental. Okay.
And it's funny because I forgot about that for a second here until you brought that back. Because I was going back through the record today and listening to it, and when that came on, I was like, I kind of got it was like where it was on in the background while I was doing something else because I just wanted to refresh my memory on some of the songs I liked. I was like, oh wait, yeah, this is the instrumental track. I forgot that it was there. But
Yeah.
the thing about it is though, it's probably the song with some of the most complex guitar work and things in it on the record too.
It is.
Which definitely sets this aside from most bands that would kind of identify as hardcore bands because a lot of those bands don't do that kind of thing. They don't really, have guitar lead type stuff or things like that. One of my favorite songs on this was Death for Profit, uh, especially because it featured toward the end. There's that break where it's basically like the gang style vocals, like from hardcore, like with almost like the sing along type vocals, along with that deep overdriven bass being the only
Right.
things along with that in the drums. I thought that was a really cool song. I liked Orange Bottle Prison and a couple of the other ones too, like toward the end of the record. It really, to me, especially because it kind of started off with more sludgy or doom type stuff at the beginning, and then it starts going into the faster blasts and stuff all the way through the end. I thought it was a cool way to kind of set up a record, though. But I definitely like this band. The album artwork I thought was pretty cool looking too.
Pretty badass.
Yeah. So overall, what I think about this one is similar to what we talked about last week. If you're into heavy music, I would say you probably would like this record just because of how heavy it is, and it would appeal to a lot of different heavy music fans, though. It's got something for the hardcore kids. It's got something for the metalheads. It doesn't really fall under one set guideline of things where it wouldn't, where I would say someone would listen and be like, yeah, I'm just not into that because that's not my scene or my genre.
If you listen to jazz.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, we're talking on one side of the spectrum of music stuff. I guess your jazz guys might not like it, but
I like another thing too about that instrumental, that Expired Utopia, is how that song, when it ends, it bleeds into the next song,
Mhm.
which is Death for Profit.
Yeah,
And that's a really cool effect. And then his voice is really different on the Death for Profit too.
yeah,
Sounds really cool. And the way they end that Death for Profit song too, it just kind of slowly fades out within like the last 30 seconds or so of
yeah,
the song.
yeah,
Some really cool
definitely.
effects on this album too.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah, check them out. They're on Bandcamp. They're on Spotify. They got a Twitter page or an Instagram page.
yeah, they're on both Twitter and Instagram. Also, too, they have merchandise on $20 spin. You could get shirts there. They got short sleeves and long sleeves with the album artwork that was on here. I'll throw another Pittsburgh company in there because that's who's handling the printing on a lot of these shirts. Company called Pyre Press. If you look them up, you can see some of their designs. They're also on Twitter and Instagram. I'm going to be flat out honest. I've ordered a couple T-shirts from them already, as well as a couple of the T-shirts that their bands that are being made by Pyre Press. They got a lot of really cool designs out there too.
Now, are you a guy that likes to buy T-shirts online most of the time, or do you like to buy them at concerts when you go?
Well, I mean, ideally, I'd buy them at the shows. Just lately, we can't do it anymore.
Right.
Uh,
I
yeah,
guess you got no option, but I always like buying them at shows.
I like buying them at shows just because you can see how the shirt looks and how it's gonna fit a little bit more too, because you get
Yeah.
to see it in person. Like, what I hate is when you order a shirt and it's printed on like some of the either crappier t-shirts, or like they're fit real weird, or they're real small, or the necks are all stretched. I don't like spending 20-30 dollars on a shirt, and then it comes and it's one that it's like, oh, as soon as I wash this thing, it's gonna shrink or fade or look awful, and I don't even want to wear it again. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'd rather buy them in the con. And plus, too, the thing is, that's really where I feel you would be buying your merchandise at. The concerts.
yeah. Plus, it's just fun going to the merch table, right? They got all that stuff like
Yeah,
patches,
yeah,
cigarette lighter, coasters.
yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I'm buying it all.
Oh
Then you
yeah,
realize you don't have enough money for all of it, so you just end up buying a sticker,
yeah. Grabbing the shirt for the most part
shirt,
usually is
and
what I
sticker.
do. I always
Yeah,
say I'm gonna get patches and make a battle vest, but I never have the wherewithal or the follow through to do it. You know what I
I know.
mean? It's That's just one of those things. As many years as I've been listening to this type of music, I just never have been able to bring myself to actually put the time in to do it.
I always shy away from the hoodies too, because I'm like, man, it'd be cool to have a hoodie, but it's always like $60 for one of
Yeah.
those things.
And then my thing about hoodies now, if I lived in Pittsburgh or New Jersey or DC still, I would buy them because I'd wear them a lot. Here in Florida, there's not a lot of hoodie weather except for the 2 or 3 weeks where it drops into the 60s in the winter here, you know.
Sure. Well,
So
if Terminal Nation starts making flip flops, you could buy Terminal Nation flip flops for Florida.
yeah,
There should be a Florida merch market where they just get you like tank tops, swim trunks,
water shoes,
yeah, water shoes,
sunglasses.
yeah, a bandana.
Oh well. But all right, so anything else you want to throw in there? I know we talked about a lot of stuff today, covered a lot of different things.
Nope. Just make sure to. I was gonna say check us out on YouTube, but apparently, if you're listening to this, you probably already know that. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But like you said, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify now, correct?
yeah, Anchor, Overcast
Hmm.
are the places to go.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So, how are you gonna end it?
I don't never know how to end these things. Like,
I guess you could always play the music.
all right, see you next time, everybody.
All right, take
Bye.
it easy, you guys. Have a good one.